Your favorite artists. New music discovery. Candid conversations, unfiltered. Loudmouth, little lady, lots of music history. Broadcasting live from New Jersey, it's the Carr Stereo Podcast with Terrie Carr.
So I'm really excited to have Emerson Hart on the Carr Stereo Podcast with me today from Ezra Ray Hart. But of course, you know him as the voice of Tonic, the man behind Tonic. And I'm so happy to have a couple of moments with you. First, to talk about Tonic being such a special band. We're going to get to that. But I want to talk about what you're doing for the holiday season, which is so incredibly cool. Now, I have been a Christmas Scrooge forever. So
what?
I know, but I love when these rock and roll tours come through because I think it changes it for me. And I love that artists are doing things around the holidays now. Mark Tremonti goes out and sings Frank Sinatra for charity. And I just think it's so cool that Ezra Ray Hart is going out and doing this whole like never ending 90s hits and Christmas riffs tour. And it's a big tour.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really is. I looked at it this morning. I was like, oh, we got like 25 dates on there or whatever it is.
Dates between like right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. I was shocked when I saw the touring schedule, and you're going everywhere. Like you're playing all really cool markets. You're not playing like all these like little, bum crap places. You're everywhere from Philadelphia. Bergen-Pack and Englewood is one of the best sounding places ever in the New York, New Jersey area. Amazing. Tony Bennett has recorded there. The house is just so incredible. California, Ohio, Nashville. You've got some really, really great chunky dates on this. So talk to me first of all. This is not Ezra Ray Hart's first time at the rodeo. You guys have formed together. 2018, I believe, was the year. Why did you guys decide to team up? Of course, it's Kevin Griffin from Better Than Ezra, and I call him the mayor of the 90s, Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, because he's like 90s.
Oh, yes. 100%. And he has all of my votes. He's, we were at a corporate event, actually, which, corporate events are people will buy to have, like me come sing a couple of my hits and Mark come sing a couple of his and Kevin. And I think like Johnny Resnick was there and just all of the people that we all came up with. And Mark and I were having dinner backstage and Kevin was there and he was like, wouldn't it be fun if we could just like do this, like have a thing that is like our thing where we get to play all of our hits. And that's how it was formed. I mean, probably naming it was the hardest thing. Because
and where do you go? Because I was thinking about that, and I was like, all right, so kind of where does he, where does he sort of go? You couldn't like call it Ton something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not like Ezra Ray Onic sounds very strange, and it's hard to say. Yeah, so we settled on that, and it's been so much fun. And we did a couple of like big state fairs, and a couple of huge festivals like Ocean's Calling and all these different ones. And it was a blast. And we were like, you know what? We all love Christmas. People love to be nostalgic around Christmas. We can give them all of our hits in 75 to 90 minutes, plus hits that we didn't write, but we love that we don't get to play in our own bands. And so it really just was organically born out of something fun to do, and it's been, even doing it as much as we've been doing it, I don't tire of it. It is so easy. Everybody is great. Granted, I'm kind of the Dean Martin in the band. I don't have to, I'm not competing with Mark and those two chatty Cathys up there. I'm kind of like the stoic rock and roll guy, But it's just such a joy to watch my friends and play their songs and them play on my songs. Like, it's just so cool. It is just such a cool experience.
And there's so many songs. I mean, it's a catalog too of people just feeling good but reliving a time, bringing their kids and just feeling the music that meant so much to them and still means so much. When you were crafting those songs, and you are an amazing crafter of sound.
Oh,
Tonic,
thank you.
I always say it, and I see people say it on social media sites and stuff. One of the most criminally underrated bands, not of the 90s, but like of all time. The songwriting was just so spot on. You guys sounded very different than the artists that we were at radio, bombarded with. Love those artists. Love Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden. They were in one box, but you were crafting different kinds of songs, different kinds of sounds. They were still rich in riff. I mean, the riffs were just like the tonic riffs were like, bah! And but the storytelling was easy to understand and impactful for those that were listening. Did you think ever when you were crafting these songs that they would have a life 30 years later and be introduced to multiple generations with you gaining fans decade after decade after decade?
No, I thank you. By the way, that's very sweet of you to say.
It's true. It's true. I'm a truth teller. We're both from New Jersey, as we discussed before this. Got that Jersey truth and hardness about you. But it is so true. You look at the faces of people when they're seeing you play. I was telling a friend of mine that I was going to be talking to you, and he's like, that guy is one of the greatest storytellers. My friend said to me, that's what he said to me, of all time. He blows your mind when you go see him live. And it's true. So speak.
Well, thank you.
Speak to me.
Speak your truth. I think that, you never know what you're going to get when it comes to art, especially making that first record. We made Lemon Parade. It came out in 96. And it was your first record is always the easiest and also the hardest record to make, because you have all the songs. I had written everything. We had a great producer, Jack Joseph Puig, who obviously of Jellyfish fame and a lot of other bands. We took a break in the middle of making that first record so that the Crows could make Amorica, which is another one of my favorite Black Crowes records, and which Jack made. And, to be somewhere, not just in the United States, but in Europe, and I'll start playing If You Could Only See, and seeing somebody who was clearly not even close to being born when that song was released, singing those words back to me in my language. It just reminds me of the power of music and just how lucky I am. And I know people are like, yeah, you're lucky, but I mean, you have to take stuff for granted. I was like, I don't. I really don't. I don't. There's not a moment that goes by that I don't realize how fortunate I am to still be making art at 56, man. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. That was almost 30 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah. Lemon Parade, 30 years next year. And that record is such a special record. There's just something very special about the songs. I think the first single was Open Up Your Eyes. Wasn't that the first single that came to radio? Because I remember playing it.
Yeah, that was first number one at Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
The Rock Radio which I don't know is there still Rock Radio? Is that a thing? I don't even know.
It's really a shame what some of the big companies have done to rock radio, unfortunately, because there's still that local community for it, just like there's that community for music. People want to be connected, and it really sucks how the business has come in and sucked the life out of so much. And but yeah, when it went to rock radio, I remember hearing it in my office. I was, young DJ and being like, wow, what is this sound? This is incredible. And nothing on that record sounded the same. Everything was different. Sonically, it all flowed together. It was sequenced perfectly. There's just a very special feel about that record. And I think it was the finest, definitely in the top 5 finest of that decade, at least for me. Did you feel how special that record was when you were making it?
Not making it, no. I feel like I just was telling the stories and writing the stories that, I had lived through, because I'm that kind of writer. I can't really make stuff up that doesn't happen to me. I have to kind of write what is written and what I've lived through. I didn't realize it until much later that I was part of something that was really, really cool. I enjoyed the experience. It was beautiful. But when you're making your first record, you're so scared, and then
You're
you
a
make
kid.
it.
You were a baby.
I was a baby, and then you have a bunch of hits, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into this river that you're not used to swimming in. I mean, I grew up in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Like, the biggest thing that would happen is I would run into Bruce at the Eagle Foods. It's not, this is
the
not
Highlands. People are like, I was in the Highlands.
I was in the Highlands. But man, it's so great to still I understand now how important that record was for some people. And we might not have, we were definitely one of the faceless bands of the 90s, which I think that there were a few that people just didn't know. And in a way, that's good because we sold millions of records, but I was able to keep my life without it being destroyed with fame,
And the
you know?
90s were a tough time. There
It
was
was,
just
man.
so much going on for these bands. Look how many people did not make it out alive.
I know we were talking about Scott the other day, Weiland from STP, and just what a talent. We were making our second record, no, first record when they were making their second record, and we were rehearsing in the next door to each other at Cole Rehearsals, which was I don't think it's there anymore, but it was in LA at the time. And listening them fire up Vaseline, like recording that in that recording studio or in that rehearsal studio and watching Scott work, he was such a force being able to go out, and we did a lot of shows with them obviously, and I'm still close with Robert and Dean, and two great human beings, also Jersey boys.
Super
um
talented guys too.
yeah,
Great
super
writers and
talented guys.
producers and players.
Mhm.
Amazing, amazingly talented.
But the party habit outweighed the thing, and it's I think it was Tony Bennett who said, "Don't cheat on your gift." Like, you have to really take care of yourself in order to still do what we do. And I'm not saying I didn't definitely put my time in as a rock star during that period, but I somehow survived.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful, I'm grateful. But um, I think a lot of that goes back to, not to keep bringing up Jersey, but a lot of that's just the way I grew up. Like, I mean, in my neighborhood, if you weren't acting right, other parents would hit you in the back of the head
Yeah.
and say, knock
Same
it
here.
off.
Same
Yeah,
here.
it's just like
Grab
a
you by
different
the
thing.
arm. What are you doing? You're smoking? Give me the.
Yeah,
And I'd be
forget
like,
about
who
it.
is this
Like,
lady at the local pool taking the cigarette out of my mouth? Like, that's how it was. That's how we grew up in Jersey. I'm grateful for that too.
so am I. So am
Yeah.
I. And I have full understanding with my kids that, like, if you're a friend of mine and my kids are misbehaving and you get in trouble for it, that means you're really my friend. Like, if you are able to spot that and know, like, I was like, he was being an ass. He was doing this and this and this. I'd be like, oh, of course. Well, no, of course you should discipline him.
Permission
It's a
to
different
open the can of whoop ass, Emerson. Yes, you have it.
permission granted. You may pass.
Permission granted. But yeah, when I see the timeless nature of that record and all the music that you've made, I'm so happy that you made it out. And obviously you're able to come back and perform these songs again. I think there's a greater appreciation for them now, ironically, than even there was
Yeah,
then, right?
I think so. Being a weekend warrior out playing Friday nights and Saturday nights almost every weekend with Tonic, I watching people appreciate that time in life, and I know people get weird about the word nostalgia, but it's really, it's not weird, man. It's something that's so great. Like, it was such a great time for music, I think. And it, not that there wasn't great times in the 80s and 70s and 60s and all that, or even now there are great times, but for us, like, watching an 18-year-old kid kind of figure out, oh wait, that's that band, well, they have all these other songs, and they dig into the catalog, that gives me hope. That gives me hope for music, and like,
Absolutely. I was playing
just for
Casual
kids.
Affair last week, and that beginning riff
Hmm.
just takes me back somewhere else. It's like time
Yeah.
travel. As soon as I hear that beginning riff, I'm back in the 90s, and it feels good. It feels good. So yeah, there's definitely
Hmm.
something to be said for nostalgia. That's not a negative. I've never viewed that as a negative in any way, shape, or form. I think it's totally a positive. And I saw too, to shift gears, because I know you're on a schedule. I saw that you guys were doing something on Veterans Day that I thought was really, really cool. You guys had the guitars for vets. Is there going to be a charity aspect around some of these holiday shows that you guys are
I
doing?
think
Or
I think a few of them here and there we're going to have some. Uh, Obviously, just because of my history with playing in war zones from Kosovo to
yeah,
Iraq during the war with
yep,
Tonic, like, the vets are really important to us. And Kevin knows that, and he also feels the same way. Mark knows that, and so we all, and it's great for Gibson to partner with us on that. Like, they couldn't be better. They always come up with great programs that help people. And, people always just think about Les Paul and, Jack Daniels and that stuff. But like Gibson is really just an amazing organization. And also huge, their charity that gives it's huge. And it's run by Erica Cruzen, who was at Music Cares for years and years, which took care of a lot of musicians who could not pay for surgeries and they got sick or they needed rehab. So she's doing an unbelievable job over there at Gibson. So I'm so grateful.
And there's something so magical about the guitar, about giving somebody a guitar. I have guitars all over my house. Do I play guitar? No, but I like them here because it just makes me feel good. There's something very magical about that instrument that some other instruments don't necessarily have. So I think to be able to partner on something like that for veterans, I think is an absolutely beautiful thing. And I noticed that on Veterans Day on the Ezra Ray Hart, socials, and I thought it was incredibly, incredibly cool. And I think it's just the perfect time of year to give back and to think about giving back, and especially on Veterans Day. So when you guys get out there and do these holiday songs, so are we hearing like classics? Are they reworked classics? Do you guys have like holiday originals? Like, how is the holiday aspect of this going to work? Because I'm coming to the Bergen Pack show. This is going to get me in the mood, baby, on Wednesday, December 3rd for some holiday action here. So talk to me about what I'm going to hear holiday-wise.
Well, I mean, you're going to hear two classics. One that is a newer song that was from a band called Band of Merrymakers, which was a project that Mark and I think Lisa Loeb was in that. Kevin was in it. I was not involved in that project, but they had a song on their holiday list that they had written, which is so great. It's such a great song. So you'll hear that. And you'll hear some surprises. You might hear a 1970s song that I might be doing that is pretty hearty, bit of a steep mountain to climb. I won't give it away, but you can't have the 90s without the 70s and the 80s. So
I think you're the guy to do that too on this tour. I think that when we're hearing that kind of a classic, that's an Emerson period of the show. There's no question about that, I think.
Yeah. I don't mince words when it comes to my roots. So so you're going to hear that, but you're going to hear some great holiday songs, but most are classics, and you will feel it and you'll be like, wow, that was an interesting choice, but why do I feel so great listening to it? That's what it's going to be like.
I promise
you.
I love that. This is going to be such a fun tour, the never-ending 90s hits and Christmas riffs. And I'm so grateful for the time to speak with you. I actually reached out to your people and I was like, hey, I would love to chat with Emerson if he's around to talk about this cool tour, especially since there's a Jersey date and I'm from Jersey and I'm going to be coming out to the show. So I'm really, really grateful that you were able to work out some time for me and be on the podcast.
I would do it over and over again. You are a New Jersey legend. You were such a part of our rock and roll history.
Baby, I love you. Thank you. My gosh, my day is made now. I'm going to have a cocktail.
Do it.
Emerson, thank you so much, my Jersey brother. Red Bank Catholic High School baby from the Highlands, Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. And I love you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for a bit. I'll see you on December 3rd, too.
I will see you there. I'll make you a martini.
Don't forget to like this podcast and subscribe to the Carr Stereo page on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Rob Moorhead. TC and I will see you next time.